Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand finals of the European Battle.net Invitational. This match between Naniwa and Rhett carries a prize of $11,000, so whoever wins this best of three is going to take home that $11,000. Huge prize payout for a 2-day tournament, so this should be a very interesting and very intense series. As you can see, Naniwa mineral stacking his workers right here. To briefly introduce these players, we've seen them before on prior casts, but Naniwa is the red Protoss spawning at the bottom of Metalopolis. On the cross position, his opponent is Liquid Rhett, who is the blue Zerg at the very top of Metalopolis. These two are going to be going at it for, again, a very huge prize payout, and the loser of this will gain the second place prize, which I believe is about half of that, so we'll say around 5,000 or 6,000. I have to kind of approximate these numbers considering I'm getting conflicting information on the actual prize pools. But in accordance with the rest of this tournament series, there's a North American Battle.net Invitational that starts on Monday. I believe that is the 8th of August. I have such a terrible time with dates. I just never bother to, actually remember anything. So I spend most of my time remembering stuff that won't ever help me in life, such as movie quotes and worthless stuff that's actually blocking out all the important stuff. But Rhett changing it up just a little bit. He's going to go spawning pool first, whereas if we saw at that series with Thorzane, he went hatch first all 3 games. There's a probe patrolling here for Naniwa. Just looks like he's totally spazzing out at the natural to try and block the drone. And he's going to come back up here and rescout to see if the spawning pool actually did go down, and he's going to see that now. So he's going to come in here and see what's going on. Rhett continuing to just produce the same kinds of units. A little bit of an early overlord actually out of Rhett. Most people don't get it until 16, but he's the macro master. I'm sure he knows what he was doing. He is banking some minerals. Looks like he wants to take his expansion fairly early. This looks like a more of a classic speedling expand, as he is getting his 4 Zerglings. And the gas is actually a little late. He only has 2 guys mining gas right now, so it's sort of a off-tempo speedling expand, as the speed isn't going to be started nearly in time. But the 4 Zerglings are going to come down here and deny the probe from harassing this expansion from going down. Plop, there it goes. Meanwhile, in Naniwa's base, he does have the 1 gateway coming up. Cybernetics core is started. He is on double gas. This is pretty fast, 2 gases. As we can see, the Cybernetics core just finished, and he's already mining gas from the second one. So usually you'd expect some really fast tech play out of that fast of a second gas. Naniwa's probe looks like it should make it home since there's only 1 Zergling chasing it. So he should be fine with that and not lose any units thus far. There's a queen coming down for Rhett. Speed is now started. It's about 1/3 of the way done. More drones, typical stuff. Naniwa grabbing a sentry after that zealot. He's probably going to start another sentry as soon as he can, since he does have the gas to afford it. He's showing early expansion, so he's not showing any sort of tech thus far. But a lot of times if you're Protoss, you might want to show this kind of early tech to get them into a mindset of, okay, that's what they're doing, when in reality you're doing something a little different. But if he is going to stick with this expansion, this is a little risky. It's a one gateway expansion, which is pretty hard to pull off against Zerg unless you're very confident in your force fielding and unit control. Because if you lose your 2 sentries at the beginning of this, you're dead. At least most of the time. And in these pro games, you usually are dead if you lose that. And you won't see that too often since they are very good. Look at this drone just bully that queen out of the way. You can see that this 3rd is already going up for Rhett at 5:30, which is very, very fast. Naniwa now putting up his extra gateway. At least 1 extra gateway. I don't know what he's going to be doing with the rest of his gas, as we see it still building up. He is just chronoing out sentries for right now. Is it going to be a Stargate, Naniwa? Is that what you're doing? Yes, there is a Stargate. So down it goes. He is going to likely do some harassment off of this Stargate. We'll see what he's able to get done with that. Rhett taking this fast 3rd should still be okay if he can start spreading his creep, but he has not started spreading any creep quite yet. He's produced nothing but drones ever since those first 4 Zerglings, at least with his larvae. He has put out these extra couple of queens. So he's in hardcore macro mode right now. If Naniwa went for a Nexus cancel, 4 or 5 gate all in, I think Rhett would probably be dead right now. But he has plenty of vision. He has the Overlords hanging out and the Zerglings down at the bottom of the base to see what's going on. So he should be fine. The Nexus is now going to finish, so it's definitely not what he's going to do. Here comes the Stargate, and I expect a Void Ray to start right away. Yes, there it is. And typically when you run something like this, you're going to get a Void Ray out and then rally like 2 or 3 Phoenix to it so that the Phoenix can pick up whatever is going to be fighting your Void Ray, such as Queens. So the Queen's damage is eliminated and the Void Ray can still do damage. It's a very nice combination in the early game. So there are 3 gateways now finished. This third one is not transformed into a warp gate yet for whatever reason. He actually does have a hotkey. It looks like his Stargate and his gateways are actually on the same hotkey, and then his Stargate's on something else, so that may be a different unit inside there. It is indeed a Stargate, so he has 2 different hotkeys for a Stargate apparently. But anyway, so as I'm just checking his hotkey schematics, so the third is done for Rhett. In terms of income, Rhett is at 45 drones, whereas Naniwa is at 36 probes, now 38, as we can see 2 more just starting. The drones are really coming out in high numbers here. 7 more are on the way. Another Void Ray is actually being rallied to this instead of Phoenix right away, so it's a pretty interesting choice. The first Void Ray is going to come in here, see that Queen, and be like, nah, I'm not going to fight that. Roach Warren's now coming up here for Liquid Ret, as we can see it coming up here on the production tab. There it is. And Spore Crawlers at the third. So Ret is pretty well prepared for this Stargate harass that may be incoming. So if you're Naniwa, you kind of got to transform this harassment, instead of trying to go and cancel the third, into just trying to kill Overlords or bug the main, bug some of these geysers, something like that you can do. Ret actually has 4 harvesters on one of these gases, so that's a little bit of a mistake, but nothing too terrible. This Overlord is definitely going to die. There's now 1 Phoenix here to lift up any Queens that are going to try to battle this. There's a second Spore Crawler coming up here in the main. Naniwa could get charged up on this geyser right here and then start really going to work. He starts killing the drones, actually the ones in excess that are mining this gas. But the Queens now report. The Phoenix is going to be able to lift this up, and the Void Rays will be able to kill that Queen before the Spore Crawler is actually going to finish. So down she goes. Spore Crawler now finishes, and Naniwa is going to keep his charge on this gas. The second Queen is feeling brave, wanting to come in here and fight the Void Ray. He can bait the Queen into just overcommitting, but Ret with some good unit control there. Naniwa just a little bit behind. He needs to pick her up as soon as possible. There it goes, so that he can keep his charge and kill this Queen. So this Void Ray harass is doing quite a bit. This Phoenix is getting a little bit out of position, taking some unnecessary damage on there from that Spore Crawler. He needs to be careful and micro that Void Ray. Oh, the Void Ray goes down. Liquid Ret responding to this with Hydralisks, so he'll be able to push this off momentarily depending on what the circumstances allow. There are now 7 Hydralisks on the way, but if you can pick up those Hydralisks with these Phoenix, you can actually keep this harassment going a lot longer than you would first suspect. Here's the first Hydralisk now on its way. The Phoenix should actually see this. They're going to lift it up, and yes, you can see that's just 2 free Hydralisks as no Phoenix went down. Ret cannot mine gas from these 2 geysers right here. More Hydralisks are on the way. He's rerouting the Spore Crawler, as we can see here. The Stargate harassment's probably coming to an end now. There's just too many units on the field for Ret right now to push this away, but that was pretty successful, at least a long-lasting Void Ray harassment as we saw. In the meantime, look at this. Naniwa has his third started. He's got a wall going up to prevent Zerglings from just running in here and killing his base. His Gateway army is not really growing the way you typically expect, considering he put a lot into that Stargate army, but his macro is definitely very good this game. So for trying to fight Red in a macro game, I'd say Naniwa is really holding his own thus far. Nice pickup on that Hydralisk. It's going to be a free kill, considering he's not taking any hull damage right now from those Spore Crawlers or from the Queen. The Void Ray's shields are now gone, but he's still retaining his charge, so if this Queen overcommits and it gets picked up, which it does right there, she's going to be dead. So this Phoenix needs to be careful and get out of there without dying, as he does realize that and get it back out of there. So this harassment continues. This Spore Crawler is going to root, and he should really be focusing on that Spore Crawler right now. He needs to not lose this Void Ray, and he does realize it and gets out of there. So again, another long-lasting harassment there from Naniwa. Really nicely done. That kind of pressure can do a lot more damage than you really think. It did force Hydralisks out of Ret, so Naniwa is responding by putting down a Colossus Bay, as we can see it going down right here. And if they have too many Hydralisks on the field versus your Colossus, you are going to roast them up, and it's a weird position for Zergs to get into, because they have to respect this Stargate army. They have to respect the threat of more Stargates going down in the main and producing a lot of units you're not accounting for. But then again, if you also produce too much anti-air in the form of Hydralisks, they could just switch into Colossus and really waste you pretty hard. Ret has a really, really fast Hive coming up. He's morphing it, and it's going to be done very soon. So he does have his Spire coming up. I'm wondering if that's going to be for a really quick Greater Spire. which would be a little strange considering he does see Stargate units out on the map right now. Look at this Zergling drop coming in here, though, from Rhett. This could do a ton of damage if Naniwa does not respond in time. We're going to see how quickly he can get over here. He could drop and cancel this upgrade, which it looks like he wants to do. All the probes need to evacuate out of there. There's a Colossus that wants to poke up here to try to get these Zerglings down. He's just waiting for them to line up in a good engagement angle on there. If Rhett can get this Nexus down, that will be a huge win. Naniwa is just being too slow with his units, and down goes the Nexus. So that was a very successful drop out of this. These Phoenix are still going to kill these Overlords in all likelihood. So that doesn't really seem all that fair, considering he did lose his Nexus. He at least does have a third up and running, which is being harassed by Zerglings. And wow, that one actually goes down too. So a really nice two-pronged harass out of Red. You can see the supplies are now favoring Red by just a little bit, but look at this. He has Infestors coming down. He has Adrenal Glands coming down for his Zerglings. There's Corruptors on the way. Tons of Spine Crawlers coming up here. It looks like they're all coming down here at the 4th, as Red is definitely setting up into his super macro mode. He's at 86 drones right now versus 66 workers of Naniwa. Naniwa is only on 1 Nexus, so he almost feels compelled to push out right now. Like, this is really his only window of opportunity in the next couple of minutes. So he's pushing out, seeing what he can do. If he can catch these Infestors off guard, then that'll be a really big deal. Rhett now knows this is coming. Here comes the Infestors to land some Fungal Growths. Nice pickups with the Phoenix right there. Stalkers blink up, and they're going to pick off these Overlords. Complete whiff of a Fungal Growth right there, if you guys saw that. More Phoenix get picked, or rather more Infestors get picked up, and I think the damage has really been done so far. I would be content with falling back after this point. But no, he's going to keep going up here. The Colossus are in severe danger from these Corruptors. Nice force fields to wall all this off. You might as well kill these Zerglings since you're over here if you can. So yeah, he does go back, kill a few of them. But again, I would be very satisfied if I were a Protoss player in this situation with killing those Infestors and just getting out of there. So Naniwa needs to be really careful right now because his raw production versus Rhett's is just not enough. So he's posturing pretty well. The Colossus are in danger of going down from these Corruptors, and they do. So this should be the signal of Naniwa retreating, and that's what he's going to do. His Nexus at the 3rd is up. It looks like he's not even bothering to rebuild his Nexus in his main. He may just be ready to take a 4th as soon as he can. But once you get to 4 bases on this map, it's pretty hard to hold against Zergs, considering their Zergling run-bys can be devastating, especially considering that Adrenal Glands are now done. Here comes the Greater Spire. 2-2 attacks for the melee units on Rhett are on the way. Here comes a pretty nice engagement here for Naniwa in terms of the angle on there. His army is in really good position to deal with all these units. Now it's going to come down to Blink Micro, but he severely outnumbers the forces from Rhett right now. 32 Zerglings are on the way, and Naniwa needs to be careful right now. I know I've already said that, but he's still not in a position where he can be too aggressive with this, considering Rhett has so many mining bases, he has so many drones. He has huge upgrades on his Zerglings right now, and Zerglings will absolutely rip this apart.